Hi there, I'm Kevin Newman in Canada's Promised Land. Tonight, we'll show you the darker side of the economic boom in Alberta, how drugs like cocaine are destroying the lives of some of the suddenly rich, what $500,000 buys you for housing, and some of the solutions for families who can't find a doctor. Global National from Fort McMurray begins
tonight on Global National.
And in oil fields filled with the young and well-off, too many drugs and too few doctors, as we examine the darker side of Canada's Promised Land.
Canada's most watched national newscast. From Fort McMurray, here's Kevin Newman.
And you are looking at a town experiencing phenomenal growth, unmatched in the country. For a lot of ambitious Canadians, those are streets paved with gold under the snow. But that boom has created highs and lows for almost every person in this city. Tonight, we're coming to you from the McDonald Island Rec Centre, which, when completed, will be the biggest of its kind in Alberta. Hi there, and thanks for joining us. As you will see, the oil boom is putting tremendous pressure on the people who live here, and we'll explore some of the challenges for Fort McMurray's workers and families in tonight's broadcast. Well, like Fort McMurray itself, its rec center is undergoing a massive expansion. When the construction dust clears here, the city will have a brand new pool, a public library, and an NHL-sized arena and rink. New facilities to keep up with a rapidly growing population that will quickly fill it. But there is a dark side to that boom, temptation and vice. It often comes when young people who have grown up without much cash suddenly get a lot of it. And for more and more, it is leading to drug abuse. Alberta now has the highest drug abuse rate among men in the country. And a recent survey reveals Alberta ranks second in admitted cocaine and crack use in a nationwide survey. With so many users, there is also a rapidly growing number of abusers. A half-hour ferry ride from Vancouver, the Orchard Treatment Centre offers all the comforts of a well-appointed hotel.
This is one of the typical rooms that we have here at the Orchard.
But at more than $12,000 for a month-long stay, not many substance abusers can afford this. The ones who can seem to come from one province in particular.
From Alberta, in relation to crack cocaine, we are seeing people from the mining industry.
The boom has made many Albertans richer and given some of them a taste for cocaine, the powder, and crack.
You have a lot of people doing incredibly well financially, getting out of balance.
In Calgary, crack cocaine offenses are up well over 100% in the last 6 years. There are no available numbers for Fort McMurray, but a potent drug that cures exhaustion has an eager market here. Each day, dozens of buses carry weary oil sand workers back to Fort McMurray after 10, 12, or sometimes 18-hour shifts. Their average age is 31, their average wage more than $90,000 a year.
Cocaine is probably the most often seen drug in our community. Wherever you have a great deal of money, certain drugs tend to pop up, and that's certainly been one of our issues in the last few years.
According to Alberta's Criminal Intelligence Service, Hells Angels clubs in Calgary and Edmonton are fueling the drug route north. There's no chapter in Fort McMurray yet, but gang associates are being cultivated and trained. For young men using heavy machinery, drug use can be fatal.
Employers have identified a real hunger for some tools in how to deal with alcohol and drugs in the workplace.
That's why many of the oil companies here have started random drug testing their workers. Alberta has no privately owned drug rehabilitation centers, and only now is the industry coming together to find a common solution. For young men, often away from families with money in their pockets, cocaine can be a powerful draw. And with the only place available for recovery so expensive and so far away, addicts in Fort McMurray have few places to turn for help. So think your city has a doctor shortage? It's probably nothing compared to Fort McMurray. Some creative solutions for solving it, though, as we continue. Well, nowhere in Canada has the desire to get ahead been felt more than here in Fort McMurray. When I was a boy, this was a town of a couple of hundred salt miners and fur trappers. Look at it now. We wanted to get a sense of how tight housing is with the population still growing at 9% a year. So we called on the mayor, Melissa Blake.
Hi.
Hi, Mayor. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Thanks for your hospitality, Kevin
Not a problem. Me too.
So we're going to take a little tour.
I understand that.
The Alberta government just committed almost $400 million to help Fort McMurray catch up. Even with that money, do you think that Tar's oil sand development can continue at this rate, or
It can't be faster. I mean, inevitably when you're in a shortfall situation, unless you get a serious infusion like what we're seeing now, it's going to be difficult to keep that pace.
So these are obviously temporary.
They are, but they've been obviously made habitable for winter months as well.
Right, I can see a lot of insulation around some of the expansion areas. So these would be people who would come into town, or who would be living here?
They could be anybody. I mean, some could be recreation. I've camped here myself in the summer months, but it's more and more increasingly being taken over by people who just are unable to find accommodations that are suitable. So even securing places in campgrounds like this are quite expensive. It's not your $20 a night venue. It's actually a considerable amount more than that.
So that house there, that gray one, single-family home, average price?
Probably the average selling price.
About $500,000?
Not quite, but
almost.
It would be up there just because, again, it's brand new construction.
Yeah. I lost the mayor. There she is. So can you build enough homes fast enough in Fort McMurray?
Everything is snapped up in a heartbeat. I mean, you can see houses for sale one day and sold the next. We certainly have lots of turnover in the marketplace. Fast enough, I'd say no. We have a shortfall of about 3,100 units that we project in the market right now. We know we have a need for probably 2,000 units a year for the next 5 years as well to match population growth.
So are these people who come to Fort McMurray that intend to stay? Are they here for the boom time? What do you think?
Hard to say, but we've been through this before, so to speak. In the 80s when we came, people were often quoted as having said, I'm here for a couple of years, earn the money, and then I'll take it back to my home community. Interesting things happen. People actually get very attached to Fort McMurray, and you can't blame them. It is a wonderful place with lots of natural beauty around us, but if you choose to engage in any community that you live in, I believe you can have your heart captured, and that happens here too.
Well, we're driving the long, straight road south to Calgary tomorrow, where we'll be on Thursday to continue our Promised Land series. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Local news is next on most global stations.